Welcome to Ohio Airgun Shooter. Today we have the CZ75D Compact by ASG. It's a 4.5mm CO2 BB replica, and this is the dual tone model. Doing a little quick walk around of the box. Pretty much the same information on all four sides. You have more information on the back, including some specifications. However, it does not have any claimed FPS, feet per second, or meters per second listed anywhere on the box. I have opened this before. However, I just keep everything packed away nicely in it, as it did when it came. What's included is a product brochure, and taking a closer look at it, I found the claimed FPS for the CZ75D Compact. Also included is the instructions manual. All the do's and don'ts. The gun itself. This is the CO2 piercing wrench, which is a flat tip screwdriver, and then it also has the rear sight windage adjustment. Looks like an Allen key. It's a very fine one. The grips are made of a rubberized material. They have really nice texture and seem to be very high quality. Has a manual safety, non-ambidextrous. Does have a full-size dropout magazine. And the BB follower does lock into place, which makes loading a lot easier. It has a plastic or polymer lower, and the upper slide is made of metal. It has nice markings. Doesn't have any of the really bright white warnings or lettering. It does have white dot sights. Now the slide is movable. However, this is a non-blowback air pistol, and it does fire in single or double action. The slide does slide back, but you cannot lock it into place. The catch is just molded into the lower part of the gun. But yeah, the safety is a manual safety. And as you can see here, It is double action and single action. Once the hammer is cocked, you can put it on safe and it will not fire the gun. The slide spring has really nice tension to it, even better than some of the blowback air guns that I have. But here's that multi-tool you get with it. The Allen key here is for adjusting the windage on the rear sight. And then the flat tip screwdriver bit end is for piercing the CO2 cartridge. However, I wish I would have either used an Allen head for this as well, or even a Phillips style screwdriver. It's kind of finicky trying to get that flat tip in that hole and get it just right to where it's seated into the flat tip screw so that you can tighten the CO2 cartridge and pierce it. Anyhow, in today's video, I'm going to do some velocity and accuracy testing. Now the gun with a magazine installed but no CO2 cartridge or BBs, it comes in at 1 pound, 3.7 ounces. Or 560 grams. Today I'll be using Crosman brand 12 gram CO2 cartridges with some Crosman pelgun oil, and then these Hornady steel BBs. They're by Umarex, and then these Excite. They're a lead BB with a copper jacket or clad, and they're great because they're designed not to ricochet. I'm just going to weigh a few of them just to see what the actual weights of them are. This will be in grains. First one coming in at 5.34 grains. .3 5.16, so what, 5.2 basically. And now some of these lead will definitely be heavier. 7.6 grains. So, and then 7.5. 7.56. So these are all coming in at about 7.5 grain. The BB follower does lock into place for loading. Now again, this tool has that flat tip screwdriver bit. It's kind of a pain to get it in there and line it up correctly to where it just falls into the slot. But I'm going to apply a drop of Crosman pelgun oil to the nozzle of the cartridge here. I was having difficulties putting the cartridge in. This is only about, I think, the second time that I've shot this. Now with the screw all the way down, you can't just force it in. I'll show you here in a second. What you have to do is this little plate, you got to tilt it one direction to where the cartridge will just kind of just drop right in. If you try to force it without doing that, it's not going to go in. But it kind of wiggles, tilts to one side or the other. And if you do that and then just put it in like this, it just drops right in. Yeah, I really wish they would have used an Allen key or a Phillips. You can kind of see in there, it's even hard to see where the slot is. And then you just kind of got to line it up just right and get it in there. Once you get it in, it doesn't take much to tighten and pierce it. Does it pretty quickly. Seems to be about maybe a turn and a half. It's just a pain. Yeah, it's a real pain with this flat tip screwdriver bit. So if you're listening, ASG, can you go to maybe an Allen head or a Phillips style screwdriver, please? The follower does lock into place here with this notch. Sometimes it doesn't always cooperate. And then there is a little hole here where you could drop the BBs in. Either with a speed loader or just one by one with your fingers. Or with the funnel, which is on the bottle. It holds 17 BBs. And I usually hold my thumb over the hole here when I release the follower. That way none of them pop out. First, we'll be shooting the Hornady steel BBs. I'll be using my X-Radar chronograph. And we have 17 BBs loaded up in the magazine with a fresh Crossman 12 gram CO2 cartridge. You don't have to rack the slide. I just do it for fun. A little bit more realistic. Very first shot came in at 360 feet per second. Now I'm shooting in single action. 382 feet per second. Up to 392 feet per second. Another 392 feet per second. 390 feet per second. So we're definitely right up there in that claimed feet per second. Now some numbers with double action. Okay, now back to single action. Now that one only registered 198 feet per second. So I have no idea what that was about. So I took the highest velocity and then ran the numbers, and we got a 1.81 foot-pounds and then the 2.45 joule, which is right in the range of what was stated or claimed in the specifications. I believe joules were stated at 2.3 to 2.7, so we're right there in between. I let the magazine sit for a few minutes to warm up before I installed the new CO2 cartridge. Next up are the Excite lead copper clad BBs that weighed in at 7.5 grains. Again, we'll start out in single action. (336 feet per second). Another 336. 332 feet per second. And another 332 feet per second. And then a drop down to 316. With the lead BBs, 336 feet per second was the fastest we had, which came in at 1.88 foot-pounds or 2.55 joule. So again, you're right there in the in the middle of the stated claimed energy, which was 2.3 to 2.7 joules. What I'm doing here now is I'm just going to use up the rest of the CO2 and just get a long, steady line of velocity numbers for you, just to see how many shots we can get on one CO2 cartridge. magazine number 2 of the steel BBs. So magazine number 2 of the steel BBs plus 15 of the lead BBs. As you can see here, the FPS jumped back up after I had taken a couple minutes to reload the magazine with the BBs. So there was probably about a 2 to 3 minute gap between that second magazine and now this third one, which is the third magazine after the first magazine, which was the Excite lead BBs. Magazine number 4. Again, there was about a 2-minute pause while I reloaded, so the magazine had a chance to warm back up again. Now these velocities are indoors in a temperature of 72 degrees Fahrenheit. I mean, if I were outside and it was probably in the 80s, I'm sure the velocities would be much higher. However, with these low 300s and mid 200s, I mean that's still enough energy, I'm sure, to knock over aluminum cans in your backyard. Magazine number 5. Same CO2 cartridge. This is a 12-gram Crossman CO2 cartridge, by the way. 360 feet per second. As you can see here, just that pause to allow the magazine, the CO2 to warm back up, it just increases the velocity back up to where you start, and then as you shoot and the gun cools, I mean your velocity drops. But I must say, all in all, it's doing a very good job in maintaining a very consistent velocity. Magazine number 6. I mean, even with magazine number 6 on the same CO2, it's keeping a very constant velocity. You know, your upper 200s, but now it's starting to drop really fast. So we're finally running out of CO2 after 6 magazines. Here's my BB trap. It's just a box with a bunch of plastic shopping bags balled up tightly inside of it. Nothing passed through, as you can see here. Now from about this point to where my target is set up is approximately about 6.5 yards. Now for the accuracy testing, I'll be shooting from a rested position. I'll have the CZ75 compact resting on top of this case here, and I'll be shooting in single action first, and then we'll do some double action as well. The safety switch is very stiff. For the accuracy testing, I'll be using both the Crosman CO2 cartridges and Umarex brand. But first, with using the Hornady steel BBs, I will be using the 12 gram Crosman CO2 cartridges. Again, these steel BBs weigh 5.3 grains. Now, with the target at 6.5 yards, my aim is I'm aiming just below the outer black circle there. I'm resting the bottom of that on the top of the front sight in my sight picture. And then from there, I moved up to the red dot, which I placed that on top of the front sight. Now the Excite lead copper clad BBs. These are 7.5 grains. And I have installed an Umarex brand CO2 cartridge. So this is a fresh CO2 cartridge in the magazine. Now for this round, my aim was right below the red dot. We'll load another fresh CO2 cartridge, and we will go back to the Hornaday steel BBs at 5.3 grains. And we'll be shooting in double action. My aim was right at the bottom of that black circle. I was resting that on top of the front sight blade. The pattern definitely opened up quite a bit with shooting in double action. Again, this was at 6.5 yards. So at that distance, I'm again shooting in double action. Everything inside the black circle, that was double action with the Hornady steel BBs. Now I'm gonna move up about 2 yards. So this is probably about 4.5 yards, close range. This will be double action with the steel Hornady BBs. It doesn't hurt to do close range practice like this for home defense. And BB guns such as this make perfect tools just for that, especially in your own home. And you don't even need air plugs. This concludes the review, velocity, and accuracy testing of the CZ75D Compact CO2 powered non-blowback 4.5mm air pistol by ASG Action Sport Games. If you're looking for something backyard friendly and great on CO2, this might be a very good choice for you. It has quickly become one of my favorites, so I've definitely given it a thumbs up. Now just a quick little comparison between the CZ75D Compact and the CZ75P07 Duty. Both of these guns are from ASG. Again, the CZ75 Compact has a full-size dropout magazine, while the CZ75P07 has a stick magazine. The CZ75D Compact has double and single action. The slide does work, but is a non-blowback ear gun. CZ75P07 is a blowback, but it is only single action. You must either cock back the hammer with your thumb or pull the slide back. And the slide does lock back after the last shot. Two great and fun air pistols from ASG. The CZ75D Compact in dual tone and the CZ75P07 Duty. Thank you for watching.